Hey guys, welcome to another Oath of the Gatewatch limited review video here on the Neat Zone Magic channel. This is the last of the 5 colors I am doing for the limited review. If you haven't seen the first 4, you can find them in the same playlist as this video or on my channel's, the main page of my channel if you can't find it that way. After this video, I'm done with the 5 colors, but I'm also going to be doing tomorrow a video with the top 10 rares and mythics, bombs basically that you want to open in pack 1 will be up tomorrow. A video about that will be up tomorrow. As I'll also be doing an archetype video, so keep your eyes open for that as well as a video of some of the bad cards in the set that some people might be inclined to play, but that I will encourage people not to play. But anyway, we'll jump into the best commons and uncommons in green, and we'll start with the best uncommon, which is Nissa's Judgment, I think. One of the big problems for green in Battle for Zendikar was a lack of any good removal spell, either at common or uncommon. The only thing it had was Unnatural Aggression, which was an instant speed fight spell, but the problem with it, as compared to the other fight spells of the recent past in limited formats such as Savage Punch, Wild Instincts, and Epic Confrontation, the problem with it was it didn't pump your creature at all, and there aren't enough creatures really in Battle for Zendikar who are good for fighting with. There are a few, but not a whole lot of them. So green was very weak in Battle for Zendikar, and that was a big part of it, but luckily there's a very powerful uncommon removal spell in green, and it's a very cool, unique card, I think. So first of all, it's 5 mana sorcery. Most green removal is sorcery. That's always kind of the downside that you have to deal with. But it makes 2 of your creatures have +1/+1 counters, assuming you have at least 2. And then you choose one of your opponent's creatures, and each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. Now, comparing this to past fight spells, this spell is clearly a lot more expensive, but it also permanently buffs your creatures, A, and B, it doesn't make your creatures take any damage at all. So you can use this, kill your opponent's best creature, basically, more than likely, if you just made 2 2/2s into 3 3s. You can kill up something up to 6 toughness, for example. And then your creatures are permanently big, and you can then swing with them safely, something that wasn't always possible with Savage Punch and things like that, because maybe they had a creature that would then just allow them to trade with you, and then you just sort of ended up doing a 2 for 2, which isn't super ideal, but it was okay. But Nissa's Judgment allows you to do that and then swing on the same turn. Another side note about it is that there are other cards in the format that involve +1/+1 counters. Many of them are green. The majority of them are either green or white. There are a few in other colors too. But so you may end up being able to do even more damage with Nissa's Judgment than just the damage equal to, the 2 creatures you put +1/+1 counters on. So this card could, in certain board states, take down some massive, massive creatures. But the point is, it's a very good removal spell. Green needed one, and it's nice that they have one now. And this is one I wouldn't take over most of the, premium removal in the other colors. Some of the best uncommons I talked about in the other videos, for example. But I would take it over most other uncommons and commons in the set, as long as they aren't really good removal spells. All right, I do have an honorable mention for green, and luckily green has another pretty strong uncommon, and that is Seed Guardian. Unfortunately, it's not a removal spell, but hey. It's a 4 mana 3/4 with reach, which is already a reasonable card, one I think you would play more than half the time. But then, in addition to that, it has an ability that puts a token into play when it dies, with power and toughness equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Now, you do need at least 1 card in your graveyard for Seed Guardian to actually get the second part of its ability to happen, but chances are you're going to have that by the time Seed Guardian dies. And even if you don't, the fact that the fail case of this card is a 4 mana 3/4 with reach is a pretty good fail case. The reason a card like this is so good is because if your opponent uses removal on it or trades with it or whatever, they suddenly have to deal with another creature. Even if that creature is only a 1/1, it either buys you time or presents somewhat of an issue for your opponent. The fact that it replaces itself is good. And sometimes it's going to be a lot bigger than a 1/1, of course. So it's a pretty good late game top deck because it can block whatever they're swinging with, more or less, unless it's one of the few unblockable creatures. And in addition to that, in the late game, it's going to make a pretty large token when it dies. All right, so on to the best commons. At number 3, I will say that the green commons are a little underwhelming. But we'll get into them. Netcaster Spider, he's a reprint, 3 mana 2/3 with reach, and it can, when it blocks creatures with flying, it becomes a 4/3, so it can take down a lot of the problem like aggressive flyers in the set, and it can block well, and it can attack okay. I mean, there's nothing really to say about it. I mean, I think it's the third best common in green, and it's probably a card I'd only play about half the time, so that tells you something. The next 2 green cards, though, are cards I would probably want in any green deck I build, so at least there's that. At number 2, there's Scion Summoner. Green pretty much always gets a 3 mana 3/3 in every set, and this isn't exactly a 3 mana 3/3, but it's 3 mana for 3 power and 3 toughness, plus the token can add colorless to your mana pool, so it can help you ramp. It gives you 2 bodies that can block more effectively or be sacrificed more effectively. It's just, and it's nice to have 2 different bodies, and green does that a lot in this set. And it can, like I said, it can also help you ramp. And then at number 1, we have a card that looks kind of boring, into Drew Path Warden, but I think it's a very strong common. It's a 5 mana 5/4 with vigilance and trample. Usually green gets like big common creatures, to ramp into if they want to, or, just have the bigger creatures, but they usually don't have keywords on them. And this time around, we have Vigilance and Trample, and on top of that, she's also an ally, so she has all of the ally synergies that you're going to want in certain decks, so she can activate Cohort, she can activate Rally, and she's a big, formidable creature, so I think I would always want 1 or 2 of her in my decks. You can compare it to Stampeding Elkherd from the recent past, I think, as a 5 mana 5 power creature with Trample, but this one also has Vigilance. So I think it's in a lot of ways better than Stampeding Elkherd, who only had it if you had Formidable. So, but yeah, to Drew Path Warden's good. Scion Summoner's good. Netcaster Spider is a little underwhelming. To be honest, there's a lot of cards that probably could have rotated around in the 3 spot. Even though green's kind of shallow, I would say that most of its commons are fairly playable, and that's not something you can say about all the colors. So, but yeah, so that's those are the best commons and uncommons in green, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.